So it's in my mid-20s I started to think, okay, this isn't going away. And I was a little bit mad at the Lord about that, because I was thinking, I want to be a Christian husband. I want to be a Christian dad. That's a good thing, right? That's a noble thing. Yeah. I'm not wanting to be a bank robber here.
Yeah.
Why aren't you giving this to me?
Right.
There was no good thing that was coming from these feelings of same-sex attraction. It was making one or two friendships painful and complicated in ways I didn't want them to be. Mm-hmm. And it was probably in my late 20s I started to think, okay, I think I need to reckon with this being a longer term issue for me to be wrestling with, and I'm not going to be able to deal with this on my own.
Okay. Where were you in terms of pursuing pastoral training and whatnot in those years?
I was in seminary,
okay,
and just beginning my first job as an assistant pastor.
And still no one around you knew?
So while I was in seminary, I told my pastor at the time, things are just getting very, very painful personally with this whole issue. And as it happened, he was starting a series going through the book of Romans. So week 2 was the second half of Romans 1.
Yeah.
But he preached and addressed that topic in a way I'd never heard before. I'd heard people kind of talking about how homosexuality is a sin. He just took a few moments as he was unpacking that text to say, this is going to be an issue for a number of us in this room.
So he finally addressed something that seems to be common today, but I do remember those moments back in the early 2000s where people were like, statistically in the room this size, there are several people wrestle with this, and people going, oh, I didn't realize it was maybe a common thing. Was that a sense of relief for you?
Oh, hugely, because he then said, and if this is you, please know that you're not on your own, and we'd love to support you and encourage you.
Good,
so someone was basically saying, I see you.
Yeah.
I know you're there.
Yeah.
I want you to come and talk to me, and it's okay. It's going to be safe. So I had recently preached my first sermon at that church, post kind of ordination. So I was due to meet with him anyway.
To review that.
To kind of like,
critique it.
Pick through the wreckage of that anyway and sort of
here's all the things you did wrong.
Yes. You do not have a future as a pastor.
I liked your shirt. Let's start with the positives.
Right. You have a nice voice.
So I arranged to meet him anyway, and he said, let's meet up and go through your sermon from a couple of weeks ago. And I said to him, yes, and there's something else I'd like to talk to you about as well.
Okay.
I thought, I'm going to make myself have to talk about this other thing.
Yeah.
So we met up that week. We picked through my sermon. And then he said, so
what's the other thing?
What's the other thing? And at that moment, I wished I'd never said that there was another thing.
Right, yeah.
So I said, I'm really struggling with homosexuality. I think those were my exact words. And then sort of braced myself for, the ceiling to fall down and for fire to engulf the room or something. And he could not have been more reassuring. He just looked at me for a moment and smiled and said, thank you so much. And he said, that sounds like that was a difficult thing to share, and I'm so grateful that you shared that with me. And I just felt a profound relief.
Yeah.
Like, okay, this was the right thing to do.
Yeah.
And then he didn't then sort of whack me over the head with 1 Corinthians 6 or anything. He just said, how long have you been aware of this? Mm-hmm. And he just asked me some gentle questions, what's it been like for you? Have you been in love? Has that been painful? Just empathetic.
Yeah. And no doubt this was building a framework for how you would talk about it in the future
I've been on the other side of all of those sorts of conversations. But it was a pastoral masterclass, as well as being personally just such a tonic and relief and a balm.
But I just want to point out the beauty of God's grace in that moment. It's not just about a pastor. It's about a Savior who loves you. Yeah. He is setting you up for the course of your ministry life in that moment. I mean, it's just I'm sitting here with my mind blown just how gracious and loving and intimately personal the Lord is. You are one man on earth among billions of people. God is in that moment. And he's given this man a heart to represent his heart in your life. So, because he has plans for you that are way beyond any plans you would have for yourself. I mean, that moment is just so incredibly beautiful. I don't want people to miss just the glory of the grace that's operating in that moment. I mean, we can look back now and imagine if all you'd gotten is the law, if you'd gotten beaten up.
Yeah.
We may not be sitting at this table.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just so beautiful, these points where God intervenes and protects, and he's keeping you and surrounding you with his love and his grace and empowering you to do what he's called you to do. It's just so beautiful.